Good morning. The Billion Coin community. Isn't it a wonderful privilege that we have? That we have a community of people who have become part of the silent protest, as it were, a non-aggressive protest against the evil forces that have been schemed over the thousands of years now to eventually bring humanity to ruin. And now we have this wonderful tool to help us in this protest without aggression. Not only without aggression, but we do it in love. We don't do it in love to, that's not what I mean. What I mean is we don't do it to hurt anyone. It's not our intention to hurt any person. But instead we approach with love and respect all of humanity, and we implore those who have come across TBC, who have brushed it off as something that is, less than ideal. We implore you, join us in our non-aggressive protest against the how should we say it? The powers of darkness, principalities and powers that have been so aggressively advanced, dominating humanity. And not only with the sword and guns and machine guns and tanks and whatever, and be it chemical weapons, be it all of these things, and have, through so much death and so much killing and so much of taking control of industries, all of the industries that humanity is in need of for prosperity, has all been dominated by just a few people who had in mind nothing but destruction. Now we have a tool that is so powerful that we can approach humanity with love and respect and ask, and not only ask to join, but we have something to give them. We have something to give. first of all, in monetary value, and then much more yet in the value of self-education, of of developing a a mindset that can truly transform a life into a joy, a life filled with joy, peace, confidence, love, first of all for ourselves and also for humanity, a life of true fulfillment. We have so incredibly much to give to humanity. You know, it overwhelms me with joy when I contemplate of the first of all, I don't know if you have watched the David Jones's video. I was touched by that video. You know, as he mentioned that who admin is really, it's irrelevant. Not only is it irrelevant, uh, it could be how would we say, it could be suicide for TBC to expose who admin is. Well, it always depends on what the intention is of people, but is it really, is there any need for us to know? We really don't need to know. They've given us so much. Now, of course, if we were in the exchanges where there are hooks for the for how should we say it, like for governments to lure us in, to hooks to pull us in, well, that's what we would be doing if we were in exchanges. Then obviously exposure would not be, you couldn't actually hardly avoid it. But that's not who we are. That's not who we are. We don't operate with aggression. We don't operate with we're not here to force any person to do anything. We're not here to force anyone. We do encourage those who are in TBC. We if they want to do broadcasts, we encourage them to do them. But it's ultimately up to each individual what they want to do. We don't we don't show up with a gun and say, here, you have to do, it's either you do broadcast or the bullet. We don't do that. That's not love. That's not respect. So let us focus in on love and respect for a little bit, because those two words are mentioned in the in our mission statement. Love and respect. These are very, very gentle and very, very potent words. I don't believe that a person can really achieve more in life with people than to use, or should I say not just use, but embody those elements: love and respect. You see, if we have a true sense of self-worth. If we truly have a love for ourselves, and that spills over, it can't, it's not possible to truly love yourself and not have that, ripple out to other people. It just does. It's how love is a it's the very nature of love, that it ripples out to other people. It's in your vortex. And as you well, let me just say this. Have you ever stepped into a house where as soon as you step into the door, it seems like this is a creepy place? It just feels, it just the energy is just very, very awkward. And I used to well, okay, so what is that? It's haunted. Now some people don't feel it, and whereas others feel it right away. And that has to do with vibrations from your past. Like if a person, if a child, I should say, is when creepy stories have been told or maybe read to a child, where they got creeped out, and those vibrations, they stay in the memory. The subconscious absorb those, and that makes a person like that later in life, when they come into a haunted house or anything like that, where those type of let's say a house uh, where much creepy kind of stories or thinking or maybe even happenings have taken place. Those vibrations, they are always there. Now they can be moved out. There is but you have to use spiritual uh, how we can read in the scriptures how Jesus drove out devils. Well, it's that kind of thing. It's love that can remove that. But but people who have these vibrations and these memories in their mind, in their subconscious, they will feel those type of vibrations. Love love has much stronger vibrations than anything that is creepy or spooky or anything like that. Love is a very strong force, but it is not aggressive. It is not aggressive. It's a it is a vibration that is extremely uh, how should we say, like it's oh I like it's very pleasant. That's what I mean. It's a very, very pleasant vibration, that when the vibration of love uh, is around you and it's in your vortex, people feel it. People feel it. It's a very, very pleasant feeling. Uh, People have, they can very easily get friends with that vibration. Now, of course, some people don't read it correctly. We know that some people, they have their vortexes so mixed up with negative thinking and wrong ideas, that that a that love is actually a how should we say, because they don't understand it. This is what I mean. It is an awkward. It feels awkward because they don't understand it. They don't know what love is. Let me tell you a story. I don't want to go into very much detail, but I want to share this because it is a story. It was my own experience when I first came to Canada. um, I'll say this: in Mexico, As a child, I was abused. I was abused very much. Of course, not nearly to the extent that some people are, of course, but I was abused, and my opinion was that we were some of the worst, abused in the worst way. But obviously, I have learned that people have gone through much worse than we did. Nonetheless, when I came to Canada, uh, uh, I stayed behind in Mexico when my parents moved here with the rest of the family. I stayed behind for, I believe it was, I don't know, 3 months maybe or something. And then I came to Canada as well. And so my brother Jake, he's my next older brother. We had he him and I, we shared a room, and he showed me our room, and then of course he showed me the room of our younger brothers, which were actually half brothers. You see, my mother had passed away and my dad remarried, kind of thing, and so we had a stepmom, which which you know was not all that great for us kids. It was a pretty tough situation for us. But nonetheless, so he showed us our room, and then he showed us our younger brother's room, and our room. It was as if the furniture from our room had been picked up at the dump. And we went to. Then he showed me their room, and it was nicely furnished. It looked nice, and I was very upset. So I moved that furniture out of our room into the hallway, and but then the next day it was moved back, and I moved it out again. And that time I think they heard it in the whole house when that furniture went out of the room. And so I'm gonna let you use your imagination what it may have sounded like. And of course that caught my dad's attention, and so he wasn't sure what to do with this very angry son, and so he took me to a preacher. He took me to a preacher, okay? And this preacher, I will never forget. My dad just dropped me off. He must have called him. I'm sure he arranged it. And he dropped me off. And this preacher, I'd say for the space of at least 10 minutes, did not say anything, and neither did I. I didn't know him. He didn't know me. Obviously, he knew my dad, but he didn't know me. But his face, I could have mistaken it for the face of an angel. And he spoke German. Of course, I didn't know any English at the time. And after the space of about 10 minutes, he finally broke the silence and said, "I'm not going to do anything to you." And I broke down. All I could feel was love, and all I could see in his face was love. That was for the first time in my life that I really felt love. I believe that our admin has a heart full of love. When we think about all the ridicule and everything that we have had in the past, back in 2017 and maybe earlier part of this year, people, so much negative, so much, like, I mean, uh, vicious attacks as hard as they could come on the internet, you know. Um, wouldn't have most people just said, okay, okay, I give up, guys. I'm going to walk away because I can't handle it. That's what I believe that most people would have done. But he didn't. He didn't. He saw the tool that he had created. He saw that this is about the only chance humanity has. Yeah, there's all these other cryptocurrencies. There's Bitcoin, there's all of those other ones, but they have hooks. The governments, the powers, they have hooks in those, and those are manipulated. You can't lift humanity out of poverty, not with those. And that is what the inventor of TBC, that is what he saw, and he knew that he needed to stick with this if he's going to help us. Now, I am truly grateful. I'm truly grateful for admin to hang in there and stick it out for all of us. And all the ridicule, he endured it all. And not only that, he hasn't come along and said, hey, you know what, you gotta pay $100 a month or $200 a month or whatever. He didn't do that. Matter of fact, a lot of it all started out without any cost at all. But then, of course, we did run into that problem of the system not being able to handle it. And then along came one time a year, $10. That is so incredibly low that you would think, well, man, what kind of a heart does this guy have? There are very, very few people that will give that much. Very few. And all I can say is that comes out of a heart of love. It has to. Where else could it come from, right? I want to encourage people who have maybe given it some thought about doing hangouts, because it's my belief that there likely are a whole bunch of you that you've given it some thought. You would almost, you're almost at a point where you would like to do a hangout, and you're probably a little bit camera shy, or you're afraid that you're not going to know what to say, or there could be various different things that might stop you. Maybe you don't know how to set it up, or I don't know. But whatever it is that is holding you back, but deep within you desire to do it, to do broadcasts, and to let your voice heard. I want to encourage you, take that step. Take that first step and begin do a broadcast. And I promise you that those of us who do broadcasts, those of us who have a passion to help humanity, we will absolutely love your first broadcast. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. Your words that you're going to have, it's going to be wonderful. It's not about what kind of a mistake you might make. It's not about that. But you have a voice. You have it in you, and you have a passion to help humanity. Don't sit in a corner and just hide it. You know, there's a verse in the scriptures that says that that you don't light a lamp and then go and put a bushel over top of it. You don't, or a candle, I guess it says, but you don't do that. You put it so that it lights for everybody. Well, that is what broadcasting is. That's what we're doing. We're lighting the candle, and we're setting it on the candlestick, and it lights up the room. You know, so you can see you can see what TBC is like. You can see the love that TBC is trying to share. You can see the abundance. You know, those of us who do these broadcasts, we bring forth the word, and we're saying how abundant the world is. You know, we've been under this bushel of poverty for so many years, but the light is coming out now. And now it's beginning to be abundance, because we are tapping in to the very vibrations of nature, which is the one source where all things come from. And so we have this beautiful thing here, because we're connecting with it, and it fills us with love. Oh, I don't know how what else to say to encourage those of you who have been thinking about doing broadcasts, but just do them. Just do your first broadcast, and if I know about it, I'll be there. I'll do almost anything to be at those broadcasts and to give you a thumbs up and encourage you, because we would love to have more voices stand up and you let your voices heard. Now, I'll openly admit, I was kind of shy at first too. Even though I had been practicing with making videos for a while, but these live broadcasts, I was a little bit shy about it, and I don't know, I probably said some things that I wouldn't say now. I don't know. It was the first or the second or whatever, and so it was the beginning. I mean, that we learn, we start off, and then from there we learn. When a toddler begins to walk, how many toddlers are there that don't eventually walk? Unless there's something seriously wrong with that child, they try it again and again, and eventually they walk. They don't give up. So I mean, can we not learn from that? Just let's do it until we can run. It's awesome to do. I love doing them. I really do. I probably would have started sooner if I would have known how much fun it was going to be, but I truly enjoy it. I really do. I enjoy doing broadcasts. So now, for those of you who are in TBC and have you've just kind of left it sit, and because you figured it, you wanted it to do more for you, and so on. Let me ask you a question. If you join TBC and you're sitting and you're wanting TBC to do very much for you. Let me ask you, how much have you or are you doing for TBC? You see, everything is reciprocal. Everything is reciprocal. How should we say that? Sometimes it's being said like this: what you put out, you get back. That's basically how it works. And so if you're sitting in a corner just waiting for your TBC to become worth more and so on, and uh, eventually it will, which, if you have enough patience, eventually it will, and you will have the wealth that you're waiting for. Whether you're impatient about it or are patient about it, it really has little significance. But if you want to speed up the process, you know what they did with trucks years ago? They had these engines in trucks, fairly big diesel engines, and yet those trucks, they were just kind of sluggish when it came to hauling these big loads. Well, what did they do? They went and they put a nice big turbo on the engine, and that made it go much faster. Well, that's kind of like trying to do TBC without these broadcasts, but now you want it to go faster, put a turbo on it, start broadcasting. That's really that then you get so much more power out of it and it goes faster. And seriously, the powers that we are up against, we're coming along with love and respect to, up against powers in high places. Love by far outweighs their powers, but we need more voices carrying out the message of this love and respect. We do need more voices. That doesn't mean that our voices aren't strong. That doesn't mean that our voices aren't accomplishing very much, because I believe they are. But more voices would be very welcomed to expand faster. Now, why am I saying faster? Are we impatient? The only way that I can really answer that is that I believe that there is sort of this feeling that we want to get TBC, to a higher value. We're looking at this world, at this economy that we are creating, and we are and we want it. We want to experience that, and therefore we want to do what we can, and we are encouraging others to come on board and help us to it's kind of like building a bridge. So we really want to, because the industry is on the other side of the river where all the jobs are, but we're living over here where we need to be able to get to all those jobs and the shopping malls and all that. It's over on the other side of the river, but we live on this side. So we're trying to get that bridge done, and it feels to us like there are so many people that are sitting around along the riverbank, watching us build that bridge. And we're trying to tell these people, come on, if you help us, we'll have the bridge done a lot quicker. I don't know, that's kind of kind of a picture there anyways. So yeah, so for those of you are who are not in TBC and you haven't made up your mind, uh, you know, I can't make up your mind for you, but I can invite you, and I will invite you. If you're not sure what TBC is about, there's I have quite a few links uh, in the description, and those links they will help you for self-development, personal development. So in other words, to get a better to increase your self-worth, to get higher levels of love in yourself, and with better relationships with others, um, and and uh, and also there's teaching on how you can get your vibrations going so you can tap in to the to nature itself. Nature itself, what do we mean? What is nature? um, we say mother nature. We say mother nature brings forth the leaves and the trees every year. Mother nature grows the flowers. Let me tell you something. It truly is mother nature. It truly is mother nature. Nature is mother. When you plant a seed in the garden, you are the father that plants the seed in mother nature. Mother nature brings that seed out of the ground and grows a plant out of it. You know, I used to, when we go to church, and then there was Mother's Day, and then there was this message being preached about Mother's Day, and then and Father's Day, and so on. And back then, uh, those messages really didn't mean that much to me. You know, I was like, yeah, yeah, mother, father, yeah, yeah, well, yeah, whatever. But you know something? Now that I understand nature in a much higher level, and that I can have in vibration with nature, I am beginning to truly respect and love Mother Nature. You see, your mind, your rational mind is the father. Your subconscious mind is the mother. You use your rational mind to plant the seeds into the subconscious, and the subconscious brings through nature to you what you have planted with your conscious mind. So make sure the seeds you plant are what you want to harvest, because the harvest will come. When a woman is pregnant, the baby must be born. So it is in nature. With your plant, with your thinking, with your words, you are planting the seeds. So let's make sure those seeds are what we want to harvest, because the harvest comes. All right. So again, those of you who are, I want to encourage everyone. There is so much information. You know, I had learned so much about the mind, what I just talked about here, and I understood this before I came to TBC, but I knew nothing about the world we lived in. Or I shouldn't say nothing. I had some ideas, but I did not understand what the banking system was like. I did not understand how the world runs. I really didn't. And that education has been priceless to me when to understand where we are. And this I have learned through TBC, through the blog. As Stephen always says, study the blog. And that is where I have woke up to, to where we are in the world. What has happened? How has the world come under such control as it is? And that is how we have gotten there. Now we have the wonderful privilege of planting the seeds and start reaping what we truly want in nature, from nature in our lives. Okay. So the free energy units, that and to me is right along with the with this idea of abundance, because abundance is what nature is. Nature is so abundant, and you know what? We have been blind to this for most of our time. I have, for almost all of my age, I have been blind to how abundant nature really is. Even after I did learn much about our mind, I still didn't realize how abundant nature is until I learned more about nature and learned more about the world we live in. But it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful, because the message of truth is much more powerful than lies, much more. And the more people will wake up to the truth, because now they can't see because the bushel is over the candle. But you know what? We are lifting that bushel off, and now people are beginning to see, right? So that is how we can spread TBC much more. And of course, there's going to be many tools coming along. Right now, we could look at TBC and we say, well, how can we move forward? Folks, we are moving forward. Right now, it might look like we have the foot on the brakes, but we are moving forward, and the accelerator is very, very soon going to truly speed us up, that we're going to wonder in a couple of years, we're going to wonder, how did we get here? Because it's going to be so great. All right. So yeah, for those of you who have been shy about broadcasting, let me just encourage you, just do it. Just begin. If you want technical how to, in my link in my website, johnharder.com, you will find the videos for the technical about that. And if there's anything else I can help you with TBC, I'd be happy to. You can buy TBC from me. I'll help you with the fee if you don't know how to get cryptocurrency to pay for it. And if you have any other questions about those units, about TBC or anything, I'd be happy to answer for you. I'd be happy to to get on one-on-one with you through WhatsApp or Telegram, and we could have a conversation if you'd like, or even about anything that I have said. I'd be happy to converse with anyone about that. So I think that's pretty much all I have to say for today. I truly appreciate you guys for hanging out with me. Stephen Coffey, thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning. Mahalko as well, thank you. And Marjorie Harder, of course, for moderating. And yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope that I have given you some inspiration in some way. And so let's move forward. So in a couple of minutes, I'm going to be doing a German one. So whether yet, I don't know if I don't know. I know that we have some people in TBC that do know the German that I speak, but anyway, I'll be doing a German one, and I'm hoping that those people will pick up those videos and you know, and be inspired by them. So thank you so much, and peace.